Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to teach you about Amazing Grace, which is the 8th song in Recorder Karate 1. If you've made it this far, you should be really proud of yourself because you've accomplished a lot. And I know that all of you will make it here sooner or later. So here we go, Amazing Grace, another familiar tune. For this song, we are using D, E, G, A, B, and then high D. So we've got both low and high D in this song. As always, we want to go to the bottom of the page and we've got some new things to learn. The first is that we have a new time signature. So you'll see it's been 4/4 up to here. Now we're in 3/4. Again, the top number tells us how many, the bottom number tells us what kind. So the how many is 3 and the what kind is still a quarter note. So this means we have 3 beats in a measure. The quarter note still gets the beat. Again, we have a pickup note or an anacrusis in this, an incomplete measure. So 1 beat here, the last 2 beats are made up at the end. So we've also got this thing that when I was taking band as a kid, my director used to refer to as a bird's eye. It kind of looks like a bird's eye. And it's called a fermata. And it comes from an Italian word meaning to hold. So for fermatas, you're going to hold it just a little bit longer than you normally would. So just kind of hold it until, you feel done. Not forever, but just a little bit longer. You'll see them a lot at the ends of songs. For those of you doing honors recorder, I definitely put some fermatas in. So you'll see those in the music we have for that. So in 3/4, a whole note does not take up a measure. A whole note is more than a measure. So now we've got the dotted quarter note that takes up a whole measure. You can still have half notes and quarter notes in there, and you would have 3 quarter notes. That's another way to complete that measure. We've got some new rhythms in here. So we now we'd learned eighth notes in pairs up to now. Now we have single eighth notes. Again, an eighth note gets 1/2 of a beat. So it's half the length of a quarter note. Single eighth notes have this cool little flag. They look kind of nifty and they're fun to play. We also have a dotted quarter note, and the dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats. Whenever you have a note with a dot, the dot gets half of the note's value added to it. So for example, we learned about those dotted half notes. A half note gets 2 beats. Half of 2 is 1. So a dotted half note gets 2 for the half note, 1 for the dot. That makes 3. For a quarter note, we normally give 1 beat, and half of 1 is 1/2. So when you do 1 for the quarter note and 1/2 for the eighth note, or for the dot rather, you're getting a note that's 1.5 beats long. Okay, so you can see that there. And I think we've covered all of that. So again, we're going to start on beat 3. Where we get the single eighth notes is in the 3rd line here on I Once Was Lost. So I'm going to play that for you in a minute. I'm going to remind you that the very first thing you should do should be to name those notes. Make sure you can name all of them. They're all familiar at this point, so make sure that you're naming them and practicing that. And then you want to work on speaking them in rhythm. For this song, the first line would sound like this. D, G, B, G, B, A, G, E, D. And that's speaking them in rhythm. Then you're going to do that with your fingers here. So D, G, B, G, B, A, G, E, D. And then you breathe. So as I told you, I'm going to play that 3rd line starting on I Once Was Lost. And I'm going to let you see me do that, so that you can see how that single eighth note is going to sound. So we've got I once was lost. So the second note of once, which is that eighth note, is going to come between the beat. So if I were going to go ahead here and count this, it would be 3, 1, and 2, and 3, and. So this is getting the 1 and 2, and then and 3, and. So making sure that we're doing those eighth notes correctly. I'm going to play the whole song for you now without using my recorder once again. And so here we go. This is what it's going to sound like. And there you go. You hear I hold that note. I held that last note just a little bit longer because of my fermata. I observed my ties on notes like me. And those are all things that you want to make sure that you're doing. So I want to make sure we're getting those little details. I hope you're all doing well. Hope to see you soon on Zoom. Take care.